All right, we're back. My apologies, guys. I lost all of you. So I'm just going to chill for about 2 minutes, let everybody pile back into this new stream, and then I'll get back to it. Captain Tiberius, are you a pirate captain? Do I have some competition in the chat? What's going on? People starting to pile in. Sorry, everyone. I went to turn off the Discord and I accidentally turned off my streaming software. Okay, well, while we're waiting for the others, the market continues to one time frame higher. Created another poor high here in the G period. Internals looking good. Still kind of trending up on the ticks. Still trending up on the others. Remember, the best way to know when this push higher might be coming to an end will be that one big vicious tick down that totally breaks the trend. That'll be the first indication. Chris, no. Is Dave here? Dave in the zone? Are you back? Hit me in the chat if you're here. Dave in the zone hit me with two $20 donations right at the moment I canceled the stream. So he never even got to see them come up on screen. And I feel terrible. Going back to my tick charts, wouldn't it have happened earlier? No. Oh, do you mean this candle here? No. It'll be like a clear, like it'll really be a big red break. It can go a little bit below. That's fine. I'll show it to you when it happens. You'll see. It'll be very obvious. Stan, my fat fingers hit the wrong button, and I canceled the stream. Oh, I get it. It's a Trekkie thing. Okay, I'm on board. Trading Donkey, is that a joke about how now Dave's going to be upset with me? Dave, are you here? Dave in the zone? Ned, aka Crypto Techie. That's so interesting. So you gave 8.9 XRP, but it's coming up as a $0 donation. Is that because 8 XRP is worth less than a single cent? I don't even know where it's at right now. But thank you for the donation, man. I appreciate it. That's awesome. Dave in the zone, brother. Thank you so much for the donation. I'm so sorry it happened right at the moment that my stream cut out, but I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. All right. Well, what do we think? Is the market getting exhausted here? Is it getting a little overbought? Not yet. The market continues to one time frame higher. Why would Biden do that? That's a strange idea. There was that one time when I don't know if you guys remember this, but like Obama, right in the middle of like the crisis, the financial crisis, was like, he said in a press conference, I think right now is a good time to buy stocks. I think people should buy stocks. And like if you go back and look at the charts, it's like almost to a tick the low of the market. And the next day it started up. Well, not literally the next day, but right after that it started up and it went up ever since. So that is funny. But I don't know why Biden would say anything. Biden. Yes, crypto donkey, or sorry, crypto techie. I saw that. Thank you, brother. 8.95 XRP. I appreciate it. What's the gas like on? I've never used XRP. Do you have to pay for the transfers or are they free? Very cheap. Yeah, Ether's insane right now. Rocky was just saying he donated $5 in Ether and had to pay a $10 gas fee. So can't use that to buy coffee right now. Not a good idea. Well, we don't have a double distribution today, right? There's no single prints that are separating the market. Um, it does feel a little similar to yesterday, but much less exuberance, right? I think a big part of why yesterday got the kind of pushes that it did was because it had that all-time high right there. And so I feel like today what they were looking at was that 4,000 number. And so it does feel like we're running out of steam here. But I'm not like yesterday at this point. I was desperately waiting for a liquidation that never came until the M period. I don't see that today. I see if we pull down, we just rotate. We just balance. Jonathan, thank you, brother. And I'm glad you posted when you sent it. We should see how long it takes from the time you send it before it shows up. I wonder if they have to like wait for a certain number of confirmations. Okay, that G period poor high still holding. Yep, Salmon River. That is the problem. Great, Jonathan. It'll come in at like midnight. It'll come in long after the stream is over. Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately supposed to be the difference with XRP. I don't really know much about XRP. I just, all the memes told me to hate it, so I just never looked into it. But yeah, the idea is that Bitcoin is more of like a store of wealth. You would use it for big transactions. If you're going to buy a house, you pay for it in Bitcoin. You're going to buy a car, you pay for it in Bitcoin. But the XRP is meant for little small purchases here and there at the store. That's also what Cardano is supposed to be for. But who knows who's going to win? It's too early to say. I do believe the day will come within our lifetime where most people are doing most of their transactions with cryptocurrencies, though. Okay, so the G period is giving us, this is good because it's so close to the H period. If we're going to get the cessation, we'll get it soon. Now, they're still bumping up against that poor high. Yeah, Jonathan, that's not unrealistic. Some kind of Fed coin, some central bank coin. The scary thing would be they release the central bank coin and then they outlaw every other cryptocurrency, like they did with gold back in the 1900s. Yep, that's the famous story. The guy who bought the two pizzas. But I always tell people it's the same thing with like a lot of people are making jokes about like who would be dumb enough to pay for their Tesla right now with Bitcoin because, their $50,000 worth of Bitcoin right now might be worth 50 million or whatever in the future. And I try to explain to them that like that's why Bitcoin is more valuable because that guy was willing to use it to buy those pizzas back then. It won't be more valuable in the future if nobody's willing to use it. So yeah, you got to use your crypto to pay for stuff. And then you just take your fiat money and buy more crypto. That's the way. This is the way. Philip, do you have a resource on that? I've never heard that the U.S. government is holding the most Bitcoin. I know they're accumulating it, but I didn't realize they had a large holding. I thought it was like North Korea or somebody that had the largest holding. Beautiful, Slade. Happy to help. Well, it's not really Elon getting Bitcoin on the cheap. I mean, he could take the cash you give him and just buy Bitcoin at the market value, and it's the same thing for him. I think it's just a way to support the ecosystem. I also think, and I don't want to start a crazy thing in the chat, I also think that Elon Musk is Satoshi Nakamoto. I just believe it in my soul. Jonathan, you just want it to be him because you want it to be an Australian. I mean, okay, guys, let me just make my case here. Okay, at the same time that Satoshi Nakamoto was building Bitcoin, Elon Musk was working on PayPal. His whole focus in life was on trading currencies online. Like that was his thing back then. And also imagine like back in like 2017 when that crazy bull run happened in Bitcoin, whoever Satoshi Nakamoto is would have been one of the wealthiest humans on planet Earth, but yet they never took a single Bitcoin out of a single wallet. So either whoever invented it is just dead, that person died and they can't access their wallets ever, or that person is so ridiculously rich that they don't need any of the money and that they have either no ego whatsoever and don't want any credit for building this thing, or they're already famous and so they don't need the extra credit, right? Wouldn't it be nuts if like 10 years from now, he just came out and said, I've been Satoshi Nakamoto this whole time. I invented Bitcoin in my garage while working on PayPal. Like we would be like, whoa, our brains would be blown. I'm just saying. No, I've never heard of overcharts. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, I mean, the truth is, whoever the real Satoshi Nakamoto is, all they'd have to do is move their actual Bitcoins, the original first mined Bitcoins, and show themselves doing it. And we'd instantly know. But until that day, we shall be forced to speculate. Yeah, and Philip, the thing about that is they've been auctioning it off for years and years and years. You've been able to buy those seized Bitcoins in government auctions. They stopped doing that a few years ago and now they're accumulating it, but I know for like the last decade they've been auctioning those Bitcoins off. Jonathan. So he's smart enough to invent one of the most sophisticated computer algorithms of all time, but he can't remember his password. I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. Yeah, we're about to lose that one time framing right very soon. Yeah, let us know how it is, crypto. If you like their market profile software, it can be one more I add to my list to check out. Yeah, that's correct, Philip. Technically, it's 4 real ticks to get 2 ticks. So once again, if we get one more tick down here in the H period, that will be the cessation of one time framing and officially the end of the trend. It does feel like it's kind of been over for a bit here, but that'll be the official end of the trend. Then I'll change my trading strategy from trending, where I've been forced to sit on my hands for the last few hours, to rotational, where I'll be looking to go short above value and long below. Man, this H low is killing me. It's weak, so it needs repair, and the repair will be the sensation one time framing, but the market has just gone to sleep. All right, Slade, have a good one, brother. Sorry, Miles. What was your question in reference to the poor high? In terms of a big pullback, I know you're making a joke, Phoenix, but in terms of a big pullback, a target would be this 20 moving average. Also, we haven't broke the trend in the ticks yet. All right, there we go. That's the cessation of one time framing. The market is rotational. Okay, so the poor high is likely to get taken out. It's the statistical probability that the market will need to get a couple ticks up here, but we often first get a push away. So let's see if the market comes down, repairs these 2 weak references, and then what happens here at halfback. That's also a level that oftentimes becomes support on a pullback. Does that hold? All right. If it sells through all 3 of those levels, I'm looking to go long somewhere in here, but I'm not going to try to catch the knife. I'll wait for it to pull down, and then I'll catch it on the way back up once it finds support lower. The first support is going to be this node of volume just above the open here. Then it's going to be the low of the day / the filling of the gap and the 20 moving average. Those will probably happen at about the same place. Yeah, I think that's a safe short at this point. You're shorting above the fairest price to do business. If you smashed the like button on the first stream but have it on the second, that option is always available. Just floating that out there. Yeah, you're waiting for this area here. This one and this one. Makes sense. Lots of business was done here and here. It's also strange how thin the volume is, like comparative. You got these giant nodes and then everything else is just white. Yeah, Adam, welcome. Happy to have you. Um, is my mic on? Yes, it is. Okay. Yeah. So to answer your question, Salmon River, there's no way to know, right? It could, like I was trying to explain this earlier, is like the tricky thing about rotational days is if you're inside the value area. So if you're inside the blue box, it can go anywhere, do anything. It's totally random. You never know where it's going to pivot, how it's going to go down, what it's going to do. Like you're kind of stuck waiting when it's in this blue zone. But anywhere inside of here is like a good place to do business, right? That's why. So you're getting lots of two-sided trade that's happening in here. It's the breakout of this blue box that we look for. And we just know that it oftentimes, statistically, will almost always come back to the POC. So this is one of those examples. Let's say, hypothetically, the H period had gone a few ticks above the G, and I went short with it, right? I would be targeting the POC here. But once it passed back down into the value area, I'd also move my stop a tick above break even, and then I'd kind of just be trailing my stop down as the H period traded down. If at some point it randomly pops up and takes out my stop, no worries. I'll just wait for the next rotation, right? That's the way I do it, because once it re-enters this blue box, it doesn't have to come to the POC. It just most likely will. But there's no guarantees in it. It's really just you have a framework to trade with, but that framework doesn't guarantee success or failure in a trade. You have to be monitoring it and watching it. I hope that answers your question. Okay, yeah. So I think what you're asking, Luke, is what's the difference between the letters and bars to the left and then the ones over here to the right? So this here, let me just use the drawing tool to be crystal clear. This here, whoops, and this here, these are the same thing. It's the same profile. I just have two of them right next to each other. This one, the one on the left, I keep collapsed in so that you can see the shape. Like, watch, I'll collapse this one real quick just so you can visually see. So they're the exact same thing. It's just this one, I've got the letters all overlapping each other so I can see the shape that the profile is creating. And then this one, I stretch it out, expand it out so I can see each individual time period and kind of see how the market moved throughout the day. So those two profiles are the same thing. And then over here, this is the volume for the day, okay, for this profile. So the numbers just show you the number of contracts that traded at that particular price level. And then the little candlesticks next to them, that's just a visual representation, again, of the volume that traded at that particular level. Okay, we're going back up to test that poor high once again. I will be looking to go short at some point above the poor high here. Once we get some good excess, little resistance for rotation back down to the POC. The actual percentage of what, Jonathan? Oh, man. Yeah, I have no idea. I would say better than 50-50 that it returns to the POC, but it's really, really hard to say. And that's what I mean when I say that is like individual time periods, right? Let me see if I can go back and find some rotational days that we can use in comparison. So yeah, here was a rotational day. Let's look at that. So you can see on this one, almost every single time period came back and rotated through. They didn't all poke above the value area. Actually, this is a bad example because they do almost all poke above the value area. But this right here, like the I period and the J period, that's more common, where they rotate around inside the value area, but they don't poke outside. So those are like, that's just an hour of time I didn't have any trades. You know, it's also a little trickier when you're looking at it at the end of the day because obviously the value area is constantly changing. So the value area may have been, you know, much lower or much higher early in the day and it got pulled around. But yeah, the POC, you constantly cross through it. I would say definitely more than 50% of the time. I didn't even notice it. The NASDAQ got down to its 20 moving average on the 15-minute candles here, and it is currently acting as support. I would expect the same if the ES gets down there. Yeah, Jonathan, man, I don't know what's going on with it. I got a notification from Coinbase that it landed in my Coinbase wallet, but it hasn't popped up in the like Streamlabs software. So this is a good experiment. In future, I don't want somebody to try to send me Bitcoin and then be upset that it never shows up. I may have to leave a note. Don't leave Bitcoin if you want credit. Well, Stan, the fees would have been tacked on after you put in how much you want to transfer. Don't do it, Phoenix. Don't even mention his letters. Yeah, I'm guessing at this point it has something to do with the Streamlabs software. It also misses lots of, like, when people hit the subscribe button, it's supposed to pop up and say like so and so just subscribed. But all the time I finish a feed, there nobody popped up during it, and then I look at the YouTube and it's like I got 10 new subscribers during the feed. So it kind of, it's weird. It like picks and chooses which it's going to show. But we'll give it another minute. By which I mean the rest of the stream. All right, well, the market traded its way back up to the poor high and just made it poorer. So the market is asleep. It doesn't know what it wants to do. No, Miles, exactly the opposite. everybody in this channel is obsessed with him and loves him to death. Somebody had said like one negative thing and they got like eaten alive for it. Jonathan, they're talking about Peter Resnicek from Shadow Trader. Um, Crypto Techie, yes, you can pull the POC higher, and likely as soon as we print the next letter, HIJ, I guess is next. Once, if we stay up in this range, you'll have more TPOs there, so you'll likely pull it up to there. Yeah, or pull back down a little bit to where the D is. You're right. You can pull the POC up to here. Deke, cheesy, but I'll go with it. Happy Easter to you as well. All right, Stan is seeing a rotation to 88.25. Right around the opening, right around this little node of volume. Makes sense, could happen. Trading Donkey, Cancun is awesome. That sounds fun. Is it springtime though? You don't want to catch the spring breakers. That would be a nightmare. I did not. I was thinking of Hoppy like a rabbit hops, and rabbits are like, oh, there you go. Look, the POC got pulled up. Crypto Techie totally nailed it. He saw it ahead of time. He knew what was coming. There it is. Same MO applies to a rotational day. Market gets above value, creates some good excess, starts to rotate back in. You take profits at the POC. I mean, you can see bikinis around adult women too, who won't be annoying. Maybe just because I'm from LA, I'm used to seeing bikinis everywhere. For me, it's like I don't want to be around a bunch of drunk children who have no like understanding of how to behave themselves in public. Pass. POC, yeah, you know me. POC, yeah, you know me. No, on my chart, the way that the POC is calculated is based on time. You can calculate it based on volume, but I just don't do that. That's not the way Jim Dalton teaches it. He thinks that time is more important than volume for the market. Mike, don't okay boomer me. I'm 36. I'm a grown ass man, but I'm not a boomer. Have you hung out with 20-year-olds lately? It's a nightmare. They're a whole different generation of human. Okay. Sanju, I find we have a good mix here. There's a few people who are professional traders that this is their job day in and day out, and there's a lot of people that are just learning. So we get a nice little combination of good questions, but then also good answers in the chat, which is what I love. Rob, absolutely, we can still trade below it and likely will, right? So we think of the POC as if it's the fairest price to do business. Okay, so there's always people who are gonna wait for the price to get below the fairest price to do business in order to buy, right? They want that discount. They want that 25% off. They want to buy on Black Friday, right? They want to buy on sale. So the market is constantly searching for buyers and sellers. So it will have to come down here and search for buyers down here at discount rates. But eventually those rates will get so cheap that tons of buyers step in, and then the market has to push higher to look for the sellers. And then once these people are up here and they're way overpaying, right, they'll figure it out and they'll stop buying, and then the sellers will win and they'll push it back down. And that's what the rotation is. I'm with you, Philip. I just want this market to wake up. It's gone snoozeville on us. Okay, sorry guys, stepped away for a second. Yes, this is still a rotational day. You just need to have the cessation of one time framing one time. So we had it here in the H period. The day is rotational, right? And it has been since then. It hasn't gone up, has it? It's just gone up and down. So it's just that the cessation of one time framing is just showing you psychologically that the trend is over. The market is done thinking it's going to just keep pushing higher and higher, and now it's going to figure out a new plan. It's going to go rotational. It may only go rotational for one time period, and then it'll start trending again the same direction or trend the other direction. It may rotate the rest of the day. It just means there's been a change in the psychology of the players, and we need to make a new plan. So yeah, it's still valid, even though the I didn't get below the H. And the POC being pulled up here, right? Once again, that's just showing us that the fairest price to do business in the A period, it was here, B period here, D period EF, right? It's just been slowly working its way up. So that tells us there's acceptance of these higher prices. And since we're above the new all-time high, which we made yesterday, right? Showing us acceptance of new highs. We got value clearly higher than yesterday, which was clearly higher than the previous day. So we have a trend in the market higher. Is it uncommon to have the POC this high in the value area? No, not at all. I mean, I can't say it's something I see often, but I wouldn't call it rare. I mean, value area wise, not at all is this rare. But then having this poor high that's this poor, yeah, that's less common, but not unusual. I definitely don't think it signals a high of the day because it's poor and it needs to be repaired. So it actually signals that we have further higher to go. We have to get 2 ticks above it for it to be a good high. Oftentimes when you create a poor high like this, the market pushes away from it. So when it doesn't do that, that's a signal. It's a when what should happen doesn't. The market created a poor high here in the H, barely pulled away. Did it again in the I, barely pulled it away. It's doing it again in the J, and it's not pulling away. So that's an indication that it wants to go ahead and repair it right now. Or soon, anyway. SKR, good to see you, brother. Let's take a look at the NQ. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is a market imbalance right there. Look at that. It's a perfect bell-shaped curve. It's just the definition of balance. Wow. You do have the poor high, but other than that, that's a beautiful balancing day. So again, the MO constantly passing through the POC. You may have not had that many chances. You got the cessation of one time framing in the D period, so you had a chance to go long here in the E. You took profits at the POC. You had to sit on your hands till the G, but then you took profits at the POC. You had another chance in the H, another chance at the downside as well, back to rotate back up. In the I, you got back down. So this would have been a great day to trade rotational with the profile. I mean, that's just textbook. All you need really for it to be absolutely perfect, you need to create a little excess to the upside. A couple of ticks up here above the C, and that will be a beautiful day. And it makes sense, right, that it needed to rotate? Look at all that excess. Right? This was the balance, and then just like a rocket ship, we shot all the way up to here. So we need to rotate up here. Back to the ES. Yes, Andrew, it's for me personally, I used to do that. I used to try to trade both. But then what would happen is I'd like enter a trade. And of course, this was my older way of trading when I used to scalp. So I might do it differently if I were to try to do it now. But what would happen is I'd like enter a trade on the NQ, right? And then I'd switch over and I'd be watching the ES for like a trade I'd entered there. And then I didn't realize the trade was like going against me in the NQ. So I would like jump back and forth, and it just added stress, like, right? Constant anxiety of like, I can't see where my trade is at. I can't see what's happening. I do, and sometimes the indices move together. Sometimes they move totally opposite. And so it just ended up driving me crazy. And I realized I got to just pick one. And so if I was going to pick between the NQ and the ES, I chose the ES because it's more consistent in the way that it moves. It doesn't have as much volatility as the NQ does, but you can make just as much money with less volatility. You just have to use larger size. So to me, it was like pick the indice that is, or the future contract that is easier to read, and just trade it with slightly more size rather than the one that's crazy and has all its volatility and gives me emotional stress, So that's just a personal thing. But there's lots of people who trade not even just the indices, they trade like all the futures, right? There's people that trade commodities and gold and all the futures they can all at once. And they're just looking for like certain patterns in the chart. But for me, it's about one indice, one single contract, just the futures for ES, because I've mastered getting in the flow of this one thing and understanding how it moves. So the goal is to trade this with bigger size, even if there's less opportunities, right? I hope that makes sense. Yeah, still, even with two screens, man, you got to turn your head from one to the other. Like I said, a lot of the things, trading is like a process of learning things. There's probably lots of things that didn't work for me in the past that if I were to try again now with my new way of looking at the world and markets and everything, I could maybe do. But I'm happy with what I'm doing. Like, the ES is all I need. I can make plenty of money with the ES. So why give extra work to my brain to try to figure other things out? Just be a master of this one. Man, this poor high is ridiculous. Jonathan, so trade two indices to add to my stress level, add an extra monitor, so I got to throw my head back and forth, and then be drinking at the same time. It's a good idea. It's just a good idea. You nailed it. There you go. All right, so now we've got good excess. Okay, we've got 3 ticks of excess, so that could be a good high. Not good taper here, but the market's backfilling. So now whenever I feel like this has hit its resistance and it's going to rotate back down, I go short to target the POC. Yeah, if SPY trails the futures a little bit, then yeah, they'll probably get to 400, but hard to say. Sanju, yeah, the market profile can be used on any financial market that exists. You can use it in commodities. You can use it in individual stocks. You could use it in um, looking at real estate markets. You could look at literally anything that is financial in nature. The profile is a valuable tool to look at it. The specifics change from thing to thing. Obviously, everything trades slightly differently, but the conceptual ideas are always the same. All right, Gain Franco, thanks for stopping by, brother. We'll see you on Monday. Yeah, Jonathan, that's a great question. Speaking of which, your donation never came through. It came through on my wallet. I have it in my Coinbase wallet, but it's not popping up on the notifications. I'm so sorry, bro. But just know I know it was you, and I appreciate you, even if I can't show it off on screen. Um, but yeah, I would love. That's one of those things I want to eventually get the data feed for Bitcoin, so that I can look at that on the profile because it would be interesting. I don't think it would work because it's a 24-hour market. We wouldn't be able to do like overnights and like regular trading hours. So I think it would be like, I've thought about this before. I think the profile would be a 24-hour profile and use hourly TPOs instead of half hour. But that would be the trick, right? You got to get the data in and just experiment. Try it with, two 12-hour profiles using 30 minutes. Try it with a 24-hour profile that's using 1 hour or 30 minutes or whatever, and just kind of start to look for the patterns of like, okay, what is excess? What is balance? How does the market work from day to day? God, that I would love that. It's just one of those things that's in the back of my mind I've never gotten around to actually doing. Yeah, I mean, talking about monitors, I have 4 monitors. I have 2 laptops and an extra monitor for each one. And I used to just on the other monitor, I used to just keep like the 4 indices sitting right next to each other, so I could kind of watch how they move throughout the day. And when I moved to Seattle, I have the monitor set up, but I've never even plugged it in. And I'm noticing it doesn't matter. It's not affecting my trading. So it's so interesting how the simpler and simpler I make things, my trading just gets better. It doesn't get worse. Now if I feel like I need to look at another indice, I just click on the tab and see where it's at and then go right back to the ES. Okay, still good excess on the high. So the J period high is still good here. I am looking for a rotation back down. I'd like to see us repair all these weak references. You got it, Rob. They've been doing it all day long. Another poor high. They're coming in and they're selling it right at the first chance they get. Lots of weakness below, though. We'll keep that in mind as well. Yeah, it's crazy to imagine, now that you brought me on the subject, like, what will trading be like 5 years from now or 10 years from now when we have all this like crazy virtual reality stuff? Like, you'll be able to like stand in a room. Just bear with me here for a second. Use your imagination. Like, stand in a room with like, 3D goggles on and like those gloves over your hands or whatever so that it can track your movements, and you'll be able to like immerse yourself in markets and be surrounded by, I mean, who knows? They'll invent new like flow charts that show how the money is flowing out of one indices and into another. And you'll be able to like enter trades. You guys can't physically see me. I'm acting this whole thing out, and it's awesome. It's like physically getting into the flow of the market. Anyway, it's going to be crazy. There'll be some crazy tools invented over the next decade. No doubt about it. That's right. Every time we create a poor high, we increase the odds that we will go up and get 2 ticks above it. It'll just never end until we run out of buyers. Oh my God, Jonathan, I love it. Like a physical pain response when you enter a trade without a stop loss. Like, have you heard of those bracelets? I think they're called Pavel or whatever, where like you program it to like give you an electric shock if you break a certain thing. Like, they could incorporate that into like a VR trading area where like if you break one of your rules, you get a little electric shock. Holy shit. We should invent this, guys. This could be huge. This could really help people overcome their psychological barriers. Wait, are we talking about avatars now? No, I'd definitely be like a bear, like an actual bear that just sounds like me. Adam, we'd be so rich from our genius product that we could handle the lawsuits. We're not worried about that. I'm saying, for those of you that are following like Neuralink, like Elon Musk connecting computers to the human brain, imagine when, like, the idea that he has is that like you're taking away the instrument that's in between you and the information, right? Like, if you want to know if the future prices are going up, You have to wait for your computer to put it on the screen. Then you have to wait for your eyeballs to visually take in the light. Then you have to wait for your brain to process what it's seeing. Then it starts to process what's happening in the markets. So imagine if you could just plug yourself in Neuralink style to your computer and instantly know how the market is moving in real time as it's happening with no delay. Did anybody else's head just explode? This is going to be awesome. This is going to be crazy. Give it 5 years. Absolutely, right? Messing with your chemicals, right? Blocking the euphoria when you're up on a trade so that you don't get greedy and you stay rational, and then also feeding you rewards. Like if you stay rational and exit at the right point, then it gives you serotonin or whatever. Like, holy moly, guys, we are really onto something here. Does anybody know how to hook a computer to a brain? We could do this. Yeah, Luke, if I'm reading it right, I think what you're describing is just the stock market. That's just how it works, right? A company IPOs, they become publicly available, and then investors decide if they think that that company will be profitable in the future, right? Do they like the products they're creating, the technology? Do they like the team? Do they like the way they run their business, so on and so forth? And the better job they do, the more investors it brings in, the more valuable it becomes, right? That's just the way the stock market works. Yeah, wasn't he like an early investor in Facebook, if I remember correctly? Yeah, Luke, I mean, you could make that argument for that's what the altcoin market is in cryptocurrencies, right? It's just people in a mad grab to desperately be the earliest investors in what will be future, Apples and Amazons of the world. Um, that's what investing is. Will it become faster paced in the future? Could be, right? As technology gets better, tools get better. Maybe we won't have to wait for quarterly earnings reports or whatever. There might be tools to monitor a company's success in real time, day by day. Who knows, right? So the question of does this mean we can't rotate back down to the 38s? Oh, we def can. I mean, you always can, right? You could always sell off any amount, but yeah, we got multiple poor lows, right? We got lots of reasons to come down there. So yeah, it's not unreasonable to think the market could have a massive sell-off, but it won't happen all at once, right? It's not like just one random day it's going to fall all the way down there. What'll happen is the market will balance at the new highs, and then it'll start excess to the downside. It'll start trending down and get down there. But for now, value is higher, so the trend is up. Let's focus on the uptrend, and we'll worry about the downtrend when the time comes. Yeah, Luke, on the idea of GameStop, that's like a different thing, right? That's not a conversation about investing or about how the markets work. That's a conversation about massive numbers of people with small amounts of money being able to communicate so that they all work as one big group, right? That's something that's never really been possible before the internet and before things like Reddit and stuff like that. You just couldn't get, millions of people to all do the same thing at the same time if you're a nobody, right? It's just really hard, but now you can. So that brought in absolutely a new thing in investing where now forever there's going to be some form of a Reddit group or whatever who will pick out their specialties, right? Maybe they're trying to crush shorts or whatever the case may be. Yeah, that little niche in trading is a new thing that will never go away. But here's the thing. I bet you the market figures out how to arbitrage it really, really quickly. I bet you right now at this exact moment, Goldman Sachs and all the other big banks are working on algorithms where computers analyze Reddit streams like Wall Street Bets and goes counter to whatever they're promoting, right? That I bet you that is happening as we speak. So there'll be an arbitrage of that as well. Whereas if a bunch of people pile on and all say, start posting memes about buy this one asset, the bigger players will recognize it and take the opposite end. And the big money will always win because that's what they do. That might be your experience, Luke, but I don't think that that's accurate. I think there was a huge wave of new investors this past year, but I think it was just because of COVID, because they were stuck at home with nothing else to do. The number of people that subscribe to Wall Street Bets is minuscule. It's like nothing compared to the number of investors there are in the world. So I don't think they really move the needle in the way you think. And actually, I think most of those people who are following Reddit, they're actually getting fucked. It's very few people who are taking the profits at the right time. And so eventually those people will stop doing it, right? There's no such thing as a signal service where everybody wins. Somebody has to get out early, fucking over the other people. That's just how markets work. Yeah, Jonathan, it 100% is a Ponzi scheme. That's how it works. They buy the assets, then they go on the Reddit and they promote them and promote them, have diamond hands, hold, stick with it. They promote, they promote, then they sell or they start selling and they keep promoting. So more and more people are coming in and buying from them. That's a pyramid scheme. That's what it is. And that's what I'm saying. Every pyramid scheme that exists comes to an end eventually. You run out of new people that will fall for it sooner or later. Luke, you make me laugh, brother. You're just describing investing. You're describing what the market's been doing for 200 years. All right, Philip. Thanks, brother. We'll see you next time. Yeah, Luke, I get where you're going with this argument, but it's a lot to explain. I love your ideas. I love where you're at. I get the point you're trying to make. I think you don't realize that that's just the way it's always been. This bubble that's happening right now is not new. The market's gone through the cycle a million times. But we should probably save that for like a video chat sometime and not try to have it in the comments section. Too complex of an issue. Correct. Yeah. It's only a weak reference is only poor if it's at the high or low of the day. Oh, Luke, you really don't want to have a survey right now, brother. I don't think it'll go the way you think. You honestly sound exactly like me like 4 years ago talking about Bitcoin. Like, it's so silly. I love it. I love it. No, I do agree to an extent. I just don't think you realize the complexities of it. I don't think you realize that the people on Wall Street bets is like a tiny drop of water in an ocean of investing money. And it's no big deal. It's just a little bubble, they pop. It's all based on psychology. Eventually, the people who are trading that way will run out. The bubble will pop and they'll stop doing it, and then it'll change again. The market is constantly in flux. It always has been since forever. Wait, who's Seth? All right, finally getting that push away from the poor high on its third attempt. So let's see how much sell-off we can get here. The market is pushing right up against that 20 moving average, which often becomes support. And Trading Donkey, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to block him. That'd be so mean. But you can actually, if you right click on his name in the chat, I think you can mute him so you don't see his posts. I'm pretty sure you can do that. But no, let him say what he wants to say. We might learn something. Great question on the P shape. Oh, sorry, I just turned off my mic when I thought I turned it on. The P shape, that is correct. We do have a P shape profile today. And it's neither bearish nor bullish. It's just kind of like one more data point to add to your process. And the P shape is just a sign that it's more short covering and less new money buying, right? So it's neither bad nor good. It's just a little piece of information. Okay, it's not new money coming in here and buying it. This isn't a super exciting new high. We just got up here and then people are giving up on their shorts. That's all that's happening. Chance of a downtrend? It depends what you mean by downtrend. A pullback in the market? Sure. But I don't think we're going to get a downtrend. Overall, this is very bullish, right? We had a push higher and then acceptance at higher prices. Value is higher than yesterday. So I think if the market does pull back here, it's just a normal pullback, and that it'll find support and then rotate back up. Yep, had a perfect bounce off that 20 moving average. We expected that though, because it's what happened earlier in the day with NQ. Same algorithms at work. No worries, Luke. One of these days I want to do, I've talked about this before, I want to do like a Zoom call where we get a bunch of us together and shoot the shit about trading. We'll talk it all over then when we can do it face to face. I am not married. I do have a girlfriend, but we're practically married. The difference between scalping and day trading is that day trading just refers to you want to try to enter and exit your trades within a single day time frame, but that might be any amount of time, right? It might be 5 minutes or 5 hours that you're sitting in a trade, whereas scalping is specifically trying to get in and get out right away. It's not about spending time in a trade. It's about just getting a small little bites, small little bits here and there. Scalping is tricky because it seems like it's easier. And it seems like it's easier because you get instant relief if you're right. You know, you think, okay, the L period is probably going to try to repair this eye. You go short. You get 2 ticks down. You're like, okay, great. You take profits. So the instant relief of the stress of potentially being wrong makes people think that scalping is easier. And so it's the most common way that people first get into futures trading. It's what I first did when I got into futures trading. It's the most common thing because it seems like it's the easiest. But then the more time that you spend doing it, you begin to realize that actually it's way more difficult. It's much easier to get in a trade, and just let the market go for you for a couple of hours and pull it to a much higher level. Yeah, that's more stressful because it could go wrong at any moment, but the rewards are so much higher. And so it's a much smarter strategy. Everyone I know who trades futures is like either a day trader or a swing trader. Nobody who's a pro for their whole life only scalps. Some people scalp for a few years. They put together enough capital. They learn to swing trade, but I don't know anybody that scalped their whole career nonstop. It's just too stressful, too difficult. But I'm happy to hear an opposing opinion in the chat. Jonathan, you're a scalper and you say no? I mean, have you tried trading over a longer time frame? You might be better at it. You might make more money. Yeah, Al Brooks is an interesting one though, right? Because from what I understand, everyone who takes his courses, they come out happy, they come out satisfied, like, oh, it was interesting, I learned new stuff, but you don't ever hear about any of his like students going on to become great traders. You know what I mean? There really are no stories of that, at least that I'm aware of. And of course, there's going to be exceptions to every rule, right? But I've just found every time I have a conversation with somebody who's like who's been trading futures for 20 plus years, they're always like, yeah, I used to scalp, did it for 5 years. Then I realized got to be a swing trader. Like they all seem to come to that lesson eventually. So there you go. Jonathan's giving us an example of somebody who was successful from Al Brooks. I would just say though, it's like in a percentage wise. So if 100 people took Al Brooks's course, how many of them would become successful? Probably a very, very, very small number. All right. Well, the M period is upon us. We are sitting right on the POC. The market is rotational. Value is higher. Where do we think we're going to be in 30 minutes? Where's the market going to close today? Hit me in the chat. Armando, thank you, brother, for the $20. I really appreciate it. And it's absolutely my pleasure. I hope to see you here next week. Let's keep it going. Again, apologies to Australian Jonathan. I don't know what happened to your Bitcoin notification. It never popped up. Well, Richard, thank you for stopping by during your vacay. Good to see you. All right, so we got a call for 4,000 for, just exactly where we are. Got a call for the lower end of value. Okay, trading down, repairing these weak references, and then finishing the day down here. Way lower. So I would assume you mean below value, not like back into yesterday's range. No idea. Jonathan, that doesn't help. You're not helping us. But truly, I have no idea either. Close to the POC, 95. Okay, pull down here to repair the first weak references down there. All right, 96 to 98 area. Again, down here. What's that, Jonathan? Suddenly your messages have become very blurry. I'm having trouble reading them. I don't know what that last one said. 98. Okay, little small pullback, but basically where we were. Ryan sees 93. So again, a rotation to the lower end of value. Asif is targeting 92. He's got a good track record here in the M period. News blip with 91. That's an interesting level. Where'd you pick that out from? There's nothing there. A period high, I guess. Oh yeah, this little node of volume right here. I see that. Market pulls down, finds support. Could be. Yeah, OSIF is targeting 39.92, a little bit below the value area. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking a rotation up to repair the poor high, then a rotation down to repair the others, and finish the day around the POC. Yeah, I don't know about insane, right? There's this old adage I've heard multiple people mention before, which is that like when you have a 3-day weekend coming up, a lot of times the bigger money traders, the wealthy ones, they stop trading earlier in the day on a Thursday so that they can head out early to their like vacation homes and stuff. I know that's a silly thing to say, but there might not be the juice to get a crazy push higher in the M period. But who knows? Their computers are still working. The poor high is poor because we didn't get 2 ticks of excess above the previous price level. John, John, you're supposed to stop trading before you go to your yacht, bro. What are you crazy? Yeah, Salmon, he beat you to it. He beat you by one comment. Boats and hoes. Boats and hoes. All right, well, we failed to repair the poor high. Let's see if we can go repair some of these weak references. Currently, that 20 moving average is acting as support. If we punch through, that could bring us a little more downside continuation. Wait, Slade, did I miss it? What was your conspiracy theory? Deke, 5%'s a great day, bro. If you keep that up, you'll double your money in a month. That's an excellent, excellent return. Ah, okay. Yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, creating another weak reference in the M period, just further increasing the odds that we get that down rotation. Yes, Sanju, this is definitely a sit on your hands scenario. Uh, I certainly wouldn't have gone long off the bounce on that 20 moving average. But they're not, things that you recognize in the profile are not in competition with the moving average. It's the moving average is just one more piece of analysis to add to what you're seeing in the profile. Same with the internals. I would never get into a trade just because the moving average or just because of something I see here. I'd need to also see something that corresponds in the profile. All right, Philip. We'll see you next week. Luke, you weren't kidding. You have a real addiction, bro. Focus on your workout. Your girlfriend's going to kill you if you keep doing this. Thanks, Nathan. Good to see you. $409. I don't know, man. That's quite a push. Maybe get a little short covering rally here. My guess would be, though, as soon as we got some excess, maybe we get to 406, then we rotate back down. There's just nothing happening. Steven, thank you, brother. We'll see you next time. Chris, thank you, man. Appreciate it. We'll see you here next week. All right, so you got good excess on the M period high here. So does this bring in new buyers, or do they run out here and then the market rotates back down? John, will it explode? I don't ever make guesses in the M period because it's just wild. It does M period do what M period want to do. It don't care. But I just don't think so. I don't know why it would. I'm trying to figure out why anybody would think buying at the high of the day is a good move to position themselves for next week. You know what I mean? Okay, don't love the 22 contracts at the high, but could be the first signal that we just ran out of buyers there. market internals, if you recall this morning, I said that if the market internals can kind of stay pegged above these levels for the rest of the day, it'd be a buy every dip, sell every rally kind of situation. So let's just see what would happen if we did that. Bought the dip, sold the rally, 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 bought the dip, sold. Yeah, it would have worked every time. Interesting. It has, man. This is like, this is acceptance of higher prices, but like very begrudgingly. The market's like, fine, we'll stay up here. Are you sure you don't want to go down? Okay, fine, we'll stay. It's just been grinding. I mean, look at the NQ. It's just straight up sideways all day. Thank you, Deke. We'll see you next week. Ooh, Deke, we're going to see you next week. Hey, Deke, we'll probably see you next week. Salmon River, I love a good Napoleon Dynamite reference. Gosh! Or Nacho Libre. Nacho! Who is the person? Oh, I can't remember his name. There is a guy who people always say I look just like. He's one of the guys from Friends. Let me look it up. Matthew Perry. People say I look just like Matthew Perry. All right. Well, there's your access to the upside. They are pushing. I stand corrected. Didn't think they were going to do it. I don't know. I never watched that show. I don't know which character he was, but just Google Matthew Broderick or whatever. Or Matthew Perry. Sorry, Matthew Perry. Deke, go home for the weekend. No more songs for you. Deke, we're going to see you next week. Oh, yeah, chubby Matthew for sure. Matthew with no chin. Garth Brooks, that's a good one. Oh boy, short the NQ. Oh yeah, I can see that. NQ still rotational. Just chilling. Phoenix, I love it. I think that's exactly the right way to look at it. The ability to sit on your hands is the proof that you're getting really good as a trader. That's what it's about. It doesn't matter that you didn't let the winner run further. That's a process you can get better at in the future. But the fact that you're learning the discipline of not jumping into trades without certainty, that is the gold right there. All right, well, this is what M periods are famous for, people. Long string outs of single prints with paper thin volume that will immediately get retraced in the N period. Lewis, that's awesome, bro. Take that money and buy you some eggs. Paint them and hide them for children. Getting right up to Ludmar's fib, if he's still here. Well played. If that was an upside target, we just touched it. To give you your rip, Slade, this is your rip, man. Look at this. Oh, Carthink, that's just a person who earlier today in the chat I asked for potential fib targets to the upside, and that's the person's name who gave me this number. He also gave a second one potential up here at 4018, but man, we hit that one to the T. All right, well, another great day of trading. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I love you, and I look forward to seeing you all on Monday. Have a great weekend and a great Easter.